Welcome back, guys, to the Full Force Fathers podcast, episode number 74. Dave, it is a tremendous day, and if you can tell, I am no longer broadcasting from the corner, the closet, the dark room. We are broadcasting from the living room today. Still haven't hammered down a secure location, but today we got the American flag in the background and all that good stuff, and it's only because Andine had to go to the office today, and the kids are in school, so it's just me in front of my computer. So
that's a nice American flag there. Where'd you get that?
Some idiot made it for me. Actually, I've been telling Dave for years he should be selling those damn things, but he doesn't try any one bit of trying to sell them. So,
I definitely should. I've made some good ones.
I will say, though,
you got to swing through Golden Ranch and see it's displayed nicely in their new area of their firehouse.
Dude, I should do that. It's, the thing about these flags are, if you go and try to buy one of those from somebody, dude, they're fucking expensive, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're really expensive. They're not cheap to make, though, either.
No, you're right. They're not. They're legit expensive. But the quality is so good. The quality of that flag is just unbelievable. So if you, little shameless plug here for Dave, if you want one of these American flags, if you're looking over my left shoulder, that is handcrafted. That is the smallest one that he makes, but he does make different sizes. So if you want one, you're listening to the show or you're watching YouTube and you want to see what the flag looks like, dude, that thing is sweet. So just a shameless plug for you, buddy.
Yeah. If you want veteran, one of the armed services logos on there, any sort of thing, we can custom. 100% custom flags.
Those things are sweet. I wonder what they would cost to make nowadays. You made that one for me back in 2020. Was it 2020 or 2021?
Yeah, that was 2020. That was a COVID project. I was like, I'm gonna start making American flags.
Yeah, that thing is sweet. Actually, I was just looking back at some of those first day of school pictures, on memories, and it's like, holy cow, this one was COVID year. This one, I'll tell you, man. Madison has grown. We were looking at first day of school pictures last year to this year. It is absolutely insane. She's grown like 6 inches in a year, dude.
I swear she's becoming a woman faster and faster every day. When we called her for her birthday last week and she picked up the phone, I felt like I was talking to another adult. It's crazy.
Yeah,
she is growing up way too fast. Please tell her to stop growing up so fast. It's crazy.
It's crazy, man. And then last week, we also had, on her birthday last week, we got to let her babysit the girls because we had to meet the teachers night, man. And we're going to talk about one of our show, because we just got a couple of topics today that we're going to talk about. But one of the topics came from the meet the teacher night that you and I are both just like befuddled, bewildered. I don't know what the hell the word to use is, but anyways, we are episode 74, cruising right along here on our way to 100, and we got famous numbers for you. All right, we got Bruce Matthews right off the rip, number 74. 19 seasons, 14 straight Pro Bowls, 9-time All-Pro. I mean, what else is to say, dude? Just one of the great linemen of all time, and he's the uncle to Clay and Casey Matthews, which is pretty cool. I love those football families, like the Bosas and the Matthews. That shit's just so cool.
I mean, do you think they're the first family of football? I mean, it is multiple brothers, a grandfather, the kid, like crazy. Because Clay Matthews Sr. was an NFL player too. Like it's deep. You talk about family.
That's a deep talent pool.
Family time, it's like the family business. They're in the family business. A lot of times you hear like police officers, the generations of police officers, like, it's the family business. The NFL is the family business. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, no, the Bosa brothers also stand out to me too, because Nick and Joey are both first team All-Pros, defensive player of the year, sack leader, and then their father was a defensive player as well. I don't know about the grandfather, but I mean, if you're looking at a set of brothers outside of maybe the Kelsey brothers, right? The Kelsey brothers right now, the tight end and the offensive lineman for the Eagles. I mean, is there any better brother combination in the league than the Bosa boys right now? Just machines.
No.
Machines. Absolute machines on the defensive end.
Sure.
They are fit. Listen, if you want to tell me what the perfect specimen is of a human, of the male anatomy, look at Nick Bosa. Yeah. It is disgusting.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
It really is. If you want to model yourself especially if you're, the other thing is how big these guys and how fast they move. I mean, it's nuts. But like I said, we're not here to talk about the Bosa boys. We're talking about number 74. Matthews. You got Merlin Olsen, who actually is another. He's a member of 2 all-decade teams as well, which is tremendous.
Last week,
15 seasons,
amazing.
Imagine going 15 seasons, 14-time Pro Bowler. Only 1 year you didn't make it. Only one.
I know. Yeah, it's great. It's unreal.
Those are your 2 big football 74s, and then your Major League Baseball. Kenley Jansen. I think closers are overrated. That's just my opinion. But hey, the guy's racked up some saves in his career. Lots of strikeouts. He's made lots of money coming in for 3 outs. Let me tell you.
I think he's been a bigger asset to the Boston Red Sox because he's closer for the Boston Red Sox now. I think he was a bigger asset to the Boston Red Sox when he was on the Dodgers.
Yeah, because he was blowing saves.
When he was on the Red Sox. He blew so many saves in that. I love it. Yeah, he was terrible.
Kenley Jansen. That's really it. It's kind of a short list for 74.
No NBA players have ever worn it.
Mm-hmm.
Racing sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know any of the soccer names. Not that that's a big surprise, but I didn't. And then there was one guy that spit out in the NHL. I think he wore it for 7 seasons, only had a total of 381 points while he was wearing it. I know that's halfway decent for most players, but he wasn't quite on line with Gretzky, so I decided to leave him off the list when I was going through it today.
Well, it's unfortunate when your baseline is Gretzky. We probably should never put another hockey player on the list ever again.
Exactly.
So, anyways, so it's like you said, it's a short list. 74 is a tough number. The numbers are going to get harder as we go until we get into the 80s. Then we'll get probably some good hockey, and we'll also get some good NFL, wide receiver tight ends. That when you get up in the 80s, and then the 90s, you get the defensive ends and whatnot. As we make our way to 100 on that list. But today's Bible verse, do you want me to read it, Dave?
I can read it.
Okay, because it came from me. It came from you.
It did. It came from Ephesians chapter 4, verses 31, 32. And it says, "Get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling, and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Forgive each other, just as Christ God forgave you." And I put that in there today for really no tie into the show necessarily, but just in the current state of affairs in our world, reaching out to your neighbor and offering a hand, offering a kind word, being there for one another, being there for your friends, your family, being compassionate. Really, that kind of spoke to me. We seem to jump down people's throats over everything now. There's black, there's white, and there's zero gray anymore. Mm-hmm. And if you think this way, you're wrong. If you think this way, you're wrong. And there's zero compassion for anyone who has a difference of opinion. So that's why I put that in there today, because it's just it's so disheartening when you go around and you just see the hate that is out there right now for people that used to be friends and no longer are because of political differences or any of the stuff that's just being pushed down our throats. And so that's why I put it in there today. That was the meaning behind it for me today.
And you're right, because it's so true in this world right now that literally, I don't know about worldwide, but countrywide where we live. So let's focus on where we are in our own house, in our own country. It's never been more divided. There's never been more hatred on each side. And there's never been, a time that I can remember where people just couldn't discuss things that they disagreed with. It's instantly, you're this, you're that, you're an asshole. You're, if you don't agree with me, you're an asshole, and I don't want to talk to you ever again. And that's like literally what it is right now. It is, and not to put politics in it, but that's what the driving factor is, right? It is so far right or so far left. There's no more middle ground. And it's really, really disappointing because for a lot of people, you and I included, there should be a middle ground because that's what we are, man. We're right kind of middle of the road. I don't need no far right nonsense. I don't need any far left nonsense. What we need is just the truth, number one, and middle of the road. And it's really, really hard to live in a country the way it's, and it's getting worse, by the way. It's not getting any better. Like 6 months ago or a year ago, you didn't think it could get worse, but it's getting worse by the day. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere you go. Yeah. And it's sad. All the stories you see. I mean, the news is just it's not really the news anymore. It's just like 8 TV. But it's everywhere. So compassion for one another. Start to have conversations with people. That's the only way we're gonna get to a better place. If you respect one another and start to at least understand the other person's point of view. You don't have to agree with it, but you can at least see where they're coming from.
Yeah. I like the
drum roll. Drum roll here. What was the headline that came out recently? Share it.
The headline.
Our conversation.
We have reached over $1 trillion with a T dollars in America credit card debt. 1 trillion, Dave. It's over $1 trillion. And if anybody wonders how big that number is, I'll just blow your mind for a second. $1 billion is 1 million times 1,000. So how big do you think $1 trillion is?
Ooh, my heart just had palpitations there. Up 4.6% from 3 months ago when it was 986 billion. 4% in 3 months, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Staggering number.
Yeah.
Staggering. What are your initial thoughts on it?
I don't know. Do you want me to play conspiracy theorist? Do you want me to play educator? Do you want me to play common sense? What do you want me to play? I'll play. You tell me what role to play, and I'll play it.
Play conspiracy theorist. I feel like I can give some of the educational tools around it. I want to hear your conspiracy theory.
You want conspiracy, Brett? We want conspiracy theorists for 1,000. Ooh, it's the Daily Double. Okay, this is my conspiracy theory. This is exactly what this is exactly what the government wants. This plays right into their hand because they want you fat, broke, depressed. They want divorce. They want transgender. They want it all. They want you in debt, and money is the number one thing because it really is. Outside of just being a happy-go-lucky hippie that lives in a van down by the river, there's no better way to control you as a human than to control your wallet. You are at the mercy of the government if they control your money. So what do? They fucking push credit cards. They pay actors and famous people millions of dollars a year to push credit cards for the miles, for the cash back, for this shit, that shit. Samuel L. Jackson, Kevin Hart, you name all these $1 million actors that they're paying every day to go on television to tell you to get a credit card, right? Your college football bowl games are presented by Capital One, right? It doesn't matter. They are all intertwined. It is all, but here's the deal, because they know you're not on your income that's been going down in the job market that's been getting worse. They know that you don't have the money to pay 20+% interest on your credit cards every month. So what they do is exactly what they're doing right now. They're going to continue to push it so you continue to go into debt, because when you go into debt and you can't get out, all they're going to do is say, oh, look at this beautiful home. You can only rent. You're never going to get to buy, because they don't want you to have any independent wealth. So they don't want you to be a homeowner, because if you're a homeowner, you can, you live for yourself, right? You build your own wealth. I think it's like 60%, don't quote me, of most people's total net worth is in their homes. So if they make you a lifelong renter, you can never own a home. You can never build any real significant wealth that way. So what they want you is broke. What they want you is fat. They want you to keep swiping the credit card to the point where you are begging for their mercy and their handouts when you get to a point that you can no longer afford to live. That's my conspiracy theory side, is this is exactly what they want.
Yeah, I don't I don't think it's actually a conspiracy theory. I think you're 100% right. I think that's the theory. Make people indebted to the government and to the lender. And you can change behaviors that way. You can control the narrative that way. You can control what people do when they're a slave to you. Really, that's what it is. Interestingly enough, the credit card debt for people making over six figures has gone up now. That number's gone up a decent amount.
You know why though?
Well, because their money's not going as far as it was before.
Yeah,
inflation.
but inflation. But that's also because that's that 6-figure crowd. That's the keeping up with the Joneses crowd. You gotta. Oh, your buddy got a boat. You gotta get a fucking boat. Your buddy got a fucking side by side. You gotta get a side by side.
Well, here's the interesting thing: of the different brackets, the brackets are $100,000 or more, 80 to 100, 50 to 80, and then less than 50. Those are the brackets from the article that I was reading and citing. It says that 22% of people that make over $100,000 cite vacation and entertainment as the primary culprit for their credit card debt, which is interesting. But I am sort of relieved to hear that as you go down, that number does go down.
Yeah.
With it. So people making 80 to 100,000, 16% of those people say vacation and entertainment is the culprit. So at least it's going down. So I feel like, I think you're 100% right in what you said. Those people making over six figures, they're keeping up with the Joneses. Inflation isn't allowing them to be able to continue to live the lifestyle they were before. So instead of cutting back their lifestyle and adjusting, maybe creating a budget, they've decided, to just swipe the credit card a little bit more.
Yep.
Which is just the dumbest thing you can do.
Yeah.
Why on earth would you, to go on vacation, swipe a credit card that's going to charge you 20 plus percent interest points on it?
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, right? You're going to be paying that vacation for years and years and years, because all of these numbers, the vast majority, I think it's like almost 70% of people aren't paying off their credit card every month. They're carrying balances for longer than a year.
Yeah.
So you think about that. Like if you go out to dinner and you buy a dinner for $100, family dinner, and you just let that sit on your credit card. After a year, if you got 20% interest on that, that dinner is now $120.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like, it's just going to keep going up. So it's stupid. Why would you do stuff like that?
Yeah, because when you pay your credit card, you're not paying an itemized balance every month. You're just paying the balance. That's all it is. So it's not like you could say,
right.
You can't justify by saying, well, I went out to dinner, it was $100, but I paid $250 on the minimum, so that 100's gone. No, it doesn't work that way. That's not how interest works. And people don't understand that.
No.
For me, the big thing about vacation is this, because I've done vacation on credit cards before years ago. I would never do it. If I can't afford a flight on my debit card, then I can't take the flight. End of story. Because you don't even ever get to really truly enjoy that vacation if you pay for it on debt, because then that vacation never leaves you. Like the memories you're making, none of that stuff ever goes anywhere, because it's always going to be in the back of your mind. Like, I'm still paying for this. Whereas if you pay for it in cash, you go to that vacation with cash in your pocket and you pay for it with your debit card, the flight, the hotel, whatever the hell the thing is, you get to absolutely live in the moment of that vacation and say, wow, that was a great vacation. I don't have any fucking debt from it afterwards.
All you come back with are the memories and the pictures to talk about and look at. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that is a game changer. There was they ran a simulation to show like what paying the minimum is. So if you had a credit card balance of $5,700, and say you had 20% interest on that, if you made the minimum payment, which is 1% of that, it would take you 208 months if you never put another dime on it to pay off the credit card, which would be 17 years. And on your original $5,700 on your credit card, you additionally pay another $8,400-ish in interest.
Right.
That's just if you pay the minimum. Most people just pay the minimum because they don't have they don't have the bandwidth, the extra money to pay off more than that, or to just not use the credit card in the beginning. But they don't. I think the biggest part of it is discipline. You have to be disciplined. You have to just decide. And we've said this probably 50 times on the show.
Yeah.
You just have to you have to decide to stop. You have to decide to make the change and stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop using your credit cards. You have to say, this is the month I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm only going to spend what I take in. I'm not going to spend any more than that. And I'm going to make a budget, and I'm going to say where every single dollar is going to go to, so that I know where my money's going. And I'm attacking these things that are stealing from me, stealing from my future. But you have to make the decision. And it's just not going to happen. The credit card companies aren't in the business of losing money. They're in the business of making money. The reason they have so many advertisements like you talked about is because they're making lots of money off of you. You're not going to make lots of money on your cashback points, your credit card your points, your airline miles. You're not going to make anything because, quite honestly, you're just going to use the credit card to buy a ticket that you've got your airline miles for, and then you're going to pay for your vacation on a credit card because you're going to get more credit card miles that way. So you can go on another trip and do the exact same thing and never pay any of it off.
Mm-hmm.
That's the evil cycle that seems to be happening, and I urge anyone who's listening right now to take a real gut check and say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Because I just said it. It's stealing from your future. Why would you pay 20% interest or more on any of these cards? Why would you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. And credit cards are the ones that really I get hung up on, even more so than anything else. And all debt is dumb. Period. End of story. Debt is dumb. It's a blanket statement, right? Mm-hmm. If it was a perfect world, you'd pay for everything in cash, even your house. Now that's not like, obviously that's not feasible for 99.99% of the population to pay cash for every single thing, including your house. But in a perfect world, that's how it would work. But credit cards in the tier of dumbness, credit cards are always first for me. At least you can't justify it because it's still dumb. But at least if someone buys a brand new car, at least they're getting something for the payment. When you use a credit card, you literally get nothing because if you buy food on it, it's gone. If you buy gas to put in that car, you burn it. If you go on a vacation, you keep paying for it, right? It is literally the top tier of dumbness for me. And it took me, guys, we speak from experience. It took me so long to realize that. Dave had seen the blood, sweat, and tears that I put in to get out of $17,000 worth of credit card debt that I had, because it was such a crutch on my life, because every month when Discover and Capital One and this one and Chase came in the mail, I hated going to the mailbox. We are telling this from experience. Get rid of your credit card debt. Do whatever it takes to that's the moral of this story. Do not be a fucking statistic that they want you to be because they want you strapped to credit cards. They are literally the dumbest thing you can ever do with your life. You are throwing money away every fucking month. I don't care about your miles. I don't care that you get a free flight a year. I don't care that you get cash back in a year. Listen to me. You are not special, and be honest. Unless you have a job that makes enough money, which in turn you don't need the credit card because you make enough money, you are not paying your balance off in full every month. I apologize to those that use credit cards and pay them off in full. I have people in my family, Dave, you do too, that I know they pay that thing off in full every month, and it still bothers me. Because something's going to come along, whether your buddy Murphy's going to come a knocking, and then all of a sudden you're not going to pay that credit card off in full in 1 month, and that's when the fucking down spiral happens.
Yeah. Well, and it's a proven fact, too, that even if you're paying with a credit card and you're paying it off every month, you're still spending more by using the credit card. It just happens.
100%.
It just happens. Yeah. It's proven that happens. You're right, man. I couldn't disagree with anything that you said. Getting out of credit card debt. And if right now it's hard with inflation to make extra payments, at least stop using them right now.
Yep.
And start working a plan to figure out how to get yourself out of it. But just stop using it. Go get some scissors, cut them up, throw them out, and never look back again. Never look back again. You can't close the account until you've paid it off, but at least cut up the card so that you don't have that option anymore. You take money out of the bank when you get paid. You spend the money as you need it. That's what you do. That's what you do.
Yeah, and like
some things are harder.
like
They're harder. But if you stick to it, you're going to be better for it because you're not going to be slave to the lender. You're not, and you're going to have your freedom back. And ultimately, you're going to get to a position if your interest rate is what it is, but your interest isn't going up anymore because you're not adding to that balance. It's just staying off of whatever balance you have there. It's not getting the hole's not getting deeper, and that's the most important thing.
Absolutely, and the Bible says it, man. The borrower is slave to the lender, dude. The good book says it. The borrower is slave to the lender. The Bible says it. It is true. It is 100% fact that the borrower is the slave to the lender. And it may sound like we're beating a dead horse, but we're really not, because every fucking month some news comes out about debt that pisses us off, but it's just proving it. From when we started this podcast a year and a half ago almost to now, nothing in most people's financial situation has gotten better. That's why we keep talking about it, because it's getting worse nationally month after month after month. So that's why when you see a big headline come across the news that says credit card debt reaches $1 trillion, we are going to talk about it. And that's all I'm going to say on it. Is debt is dumb.
Yep, that is dumb. I'm going to say one more thing. We like to give people actionable steps. What can you do? Gave you one, cut up the credit cards and don't use them again. The second thing you can do, the most important thing you can do, is create a budget. That's it. Create a budget. Create a budget, cut up your credit cards. Those are the two most important things you can do today that aren't going to cost you any more money. They're not going to cost you anything to do that. And it's called a zero-based budget, and spend every dollar that you have, whether it's going to payments, going to your house, going to your whatever your needs are for your family, food, gas. Spend every single dollar, give it a name, make a budget. That's the best thing you can do.
Perfect way right there. And guess what? A budget is basic math.
Simple.
Addition and subtraction. Yep.
Yeah, addition and subtraction. You know where you learn addition and subtraction?
First grade?
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was. I think that's where it used to be. No, it's not. That leads us to our second topic, ladies and gentlemen.
Second topic. Quick topic here. Not going to harp on it as much, but maybe we should. We were at parent-teacher meet the teacher night the other night at school. And I'm not going to mention schools. I'm just going to tell you we're at a school, elementary school, for my middle kid who was in fourth grade. Okay. And the teacher was going over curriculum. And I was told that by the end of fourth grade, that fourth graders should be able to master addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And I said to myself, wait a second. And the teacher said, this is paraphrasing because I don't have the quote, nobody in the class is ready to have moved on from multiplication yet. This is fourth grade. Now, I started scratching my head. Andine started scratching her head. And then I called Dave. And I said, Dave, what the fuck? I said, nobody's moving on from multiplication? And this makes me mad because now listen, I am not special. There's no special scenario. My daughter has an IEP. I know that. We own that. She has some special education needs, and that's just the way it is. And we're okay with that. I'm not, but for the general population of fourth grade has not mastered to move on from multiplication yet. And I brought me thinking, I said, didn't we do like fractions and decimals and all that shit? I'm sure Madison, my 13-year-old, did multiplication in like second grade, and we're in fourth grade. Now, conspiracy theorying, here we go. Round 2 conspiracy theory today. Tell me that COVID didn't do this. Tell me that they didn't dumb our students down on purpose by making them stay home for 2 years and then going, huh?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that all the time when COVID was actually a thing. How our kids, you could put them on a Zoom call. You can educate them through a Zoom call. It's different than being in the classroom, getting instruction from your teacher. learning how to do something. There's no other way to educate somebody than the hands-on. That's how I believe. Even if you're homeschooling, you're there working with your kids. It's not just you're plugging them into a computer and letting them go. So there's not an alternative for it. All this stuff about keeping our kids home for, some were close to 2 years where they weren't in a classroom, at least consistently, and that is absolutely impacting the schools, and especially in the state of Arizona, where they're lacking resources, they're lacking teachers in the classroom. It probably impacts an area like that more, just as a whole. And it's terribly sad for the kids because they're not getting the educations that they should. We are falling behind very quickly from the rest of the world, especially from China. We're falling very, very far behind. You think there's Chinese schools out there that don't have these kids doing much more complex math by the time they're in 4th grade than doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division?
Yeah. It's insane to me.
Yep.
And the other thing I noticed too is, when we were kids, and I know this for sure, when Madison was coming up in elementary school, kindergarten, it was always 30 minutes required reading every day. Always. Now it's 20 minutes. And I thought to myself, why does that number sound different? Because it is. It always was 30. And now it's like, kids only need to do 20. 20 is required. So like the tiers are just getting worse and worse. Like the math curriculum, now the reading curriculum. It's like, really? I don't get it.
Well, and we talked about it the other day. At the school we were at in Arizona, the kids were only at the school for about 6.5 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like physically in the building.
Yeah.
They had multiple recesses, lunch, specials. The amount of time that they were actually getting solid curriculum on some of the core subjects was minimal.
Yeah, like 4 hours.
And and it goes to show and stuff like that. And you told me an interesting story about Madison and a test she had her first week of school.
Yeah,
about just knowing where the states are and what the states are.
8th grade test, by the way.
8th grade test, and we'll just say only 2. Was it 2 or 3 kids got them all right in the class?
2.
Madison was one of them. Kudos to you guys and Madison for doing that and getting it right. But the fact of the matter is, everybody should get them all right by the time you're in 8th grade. And the majority of the class wasn't even close. So we are failing our kids as a society. We are failing our kids. So what can we do? More actionable steps, right? What can you do? You can help your kids at home. You can push them. How about getting a flashcard deck of multiplication tables and just do multiplication with your kids? Get math cards. Get vocabulary cards. Do spelling with your kids. Go through the dictionary. Pick out words. Talk about those things. Help them understand their homework. Make sure that you're involved in what they're doing in school, what their homework is. And if you see an area that maybe they're falling behind, you give them the help. That's what we do as Full Force Fathers. We're there for our kids. We help our kids. We push our kids. Quite honestly, most schools are failing our kids, and we need to step in and help keep them on track.
Yeah, we need to pick up the slack for sure. And one other thing, dude. We're sitting in the 4th grade class last night, and some positive behavior, yada 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 nonsense is being spoke about. And one of the dad because the teacher was like, if kids are doing something wrong, they'll be, disciplined, reprimanded. Like, you'll get a warning, you'll get a this. And one of the dads goes, well, like, what if my kid's doing good stuff? Like, aren't they going to get rewarded? And Andine looked at me, and she could see the steam coming out of my fucking ears. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, your kid's in 4th grade. You need a fucking participation trophy because they did their work? What the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing? Participation trophies? And Andine goes, I knew you were going to lose your mind the second we walked out of that door. Like, your kid needs rewards? And the teacher, kudos to the teacher. The teacher's like, well, if your kid's doing something wrong, like, they're going to be reprimanded. If they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, that's what they're supposed to be doing. I don't give out candy, she says, to the students. I was like, yes,
Good.
we're not giving, dude.
That's good.
We don't candy and soda and bullshit. They don't need a participation trophy because they know what 1 + 1 is, man. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Or they turn their homework in on time when it was required to be turned in.
Send them a link to the podcast, would you?
What?
Send them a link to the podcast. Sounds like you should listen to it.
I'm going to get a t-shirt made that says like Full Force Fathers, and on the back just have the address on the back. And it's like, go to this link.
Yeah.
All dads need to go to this link.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. But so anyways, so topic 2's covered, right? We did credit card debt, we've done school. Yep. Topic 3, this is a brief topic. This is just me holding myself accountable and keeping you guys in the loop as to what's going on my training for the 50 miler, because neither Dave nor I are in the middle of 75 hard. We're living the 75 hard lifestyle, but not officially off the app or whatnot. But dude, I've had some tremendous, Saturdays have been my long run days, my long desert days, man. And I've had some tremendous runs. This coming up Saturday is going to be my real test. My first, now granted, running for 3 hours in the desert nonstop is a test. I'm not fucking Superman, right? But this coming up weekend, I just did a 4 hour. This coming up weekend is a 5 hour nonstop movement in the desert. So that's a long fucking day. So I'm going to start at 3 and I'm going to run until 8. That will be my first real judgment because, this Saturday coming up, it is August 19th when this for my 5 hour. That would put me 1 month and 1 month and 10 days, 1 month and a week out from the actual race. Because I got a 5 hour, then I have a 50K that I have to do, which is 31 miles. And then it's going to be kind of like a slow backwards taper back down. So I'm essentially going to run one ultra before I actually go run my ultra in a few weeks' time when I do my unofficial 50K. So this weekend coming up, 5 hours in the desert, man. And I tell you, I've been doing 3+ hours, 4 hours. I feel real good, but then I stop and think and I go, but I got to do this for like 8 or 10 or 12. And I'm like, fuck, dude. And the hardest thing for me is the eating, like, cause you have to consume calories because like I showed you the stats of that one run that I did 2 weeks ago, dude, I burned over 2,500 calories, 27,000 steps. It was like 15 miles or something over the course of 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And I had consumed like maybe 300, 400 calories. And I'm like, dude, that's good and all for 3 hours, but I'm going to fucking bonk off my ass if I can't find a way to consume more calories.
Oh yeah.
So, but that's your training plan update for the Brett's 50 miler. Once again, it is September 30th. And I'm going to keep you guys updated from here on out. And then obviously we'll have a whole recap show of the race after the fact. After that race is done, we'll have probably just dedicate one episode to it. So, Dave, cool. we got a book today, that I stole from Madison. Why did I steal this book from Madison?
Because it's one of the books I sent her for her birthday. I sent Madison a bunch of books for her birthday because you said she's getting into kind of learning about money and about things like that. So I sent her some of my favorites for a 13-year-old who's going to be thinking about college soon and what is that going to entail. So there it is, Debt-Free Degree by Anthony O'Neill. It is a great book. It teaches you how to go to school debt-free. Yes, you can go to school debt-free. And what a perfect time to pick up the book and read the book. Because in the matter of just a couple weeks, interest is going back on student loans. And payments are going to start being due by October the 1st. So all these people that have had 3.5 years of no payments, no interest, to do nothing, when you could have been taking advantage of that time and knocking it out with no interest. You could have just been hammering on your student loans. Everybody's in for a rude awakening. Even if not going to be in for a rude awakening. Even in that 3 years with or however long it's been, 2 + 3 years, I don't even know exactly how long it's been. But either way, 3.5.
Interest free. Even if you didn't send a payment every month because you didn't have to, if you just sent some payments that would have went to your balance interest free, something, you could have done something.
Or if you had just socked away the money. Say, you know what?
Yeah.
What I would have paid on my student loans, I'm gonna sock that away right now.
Yeah.
If you had a $500 payment going to your student loans every month, you'd have a ton of money sitting around right now.
$20,000.
You'd have 6, 12, 18, 20, a little 20, yeah, $22,000 or something sitting around right now that you could pay. You could have paid all that with no interest. Oh my God. Anyway, Debt Free Degree, or this is the book that you need to read when you're starting to think about college. Am I going to go to college? It's a great book for parents to read, so you can teach your kids when they get older on how they can go to school debt free. It's about getting scholarships. It's about working. It's about putting in the time to do things in the community to put yourself in a better position for those scholarships. You're going to learn so many great little tidbits in there because it is possible to go to school debt free. Maybe you start at a smaller school. Maybe you don't go to the big state university out of the gate. Maybe you start at a community school. There's some states that pay for your community college. You don't even have to worry about it. What a great way to start. Maybe it's going into the military, so you get a GI Bill. There's all these different ways that you can go to school debt-free, and this book shows you the path to do that. So pick it up, go read it. I can't wait till Madison reads it and I hear her feedback on it, and then start hearing the conversations probably that she's going to have with you about how she can start doing this. Yeah. I know she wants to go somewhere where it's cold, so she's probably going to have to pay an out-of-state tuition somewhere. But there's no doubt in my mind that she can do it. So that's the book.
Good. Debt Free Degree. Go pick it up. I can't read. I'm going to read it with her. So we're going to read it together, which makes me happy.
That's great.
But that's the show, Dave. That's episode 74. You want to take us on home, and we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, everybody, get out there, continue to live the full force life, as we said today. Cut up those credit cards, make a budget. Those are 2 actionable steps you can take today to not be a statistic in these credit card numbers, which are now over $1 trillion with a T dollars. And pay attention to what your kids are doing in school. Help them, push them along. Don't let the school system bring them back. Make them stand out, make them excel in school, help them with their homework, get involved, and go pick up the book, Debt Free Degree. It'll change your life, and those are somebody that you love. We'll see you next week.